Chapter 3. The Butler. The shadows danced across the floor in the large foyer as Tanaka went about lighting the various candles on the walls. The mansion looked no different from the last time CL had seen it, and he half expected to see his mother and father walking down the staircase any moment, asking where he had been for so long. That was never going to happen though, and CL knew it. He shivered as the demon he had made his bargain with stepped beside him. It wasn't that he was particularly scared of it. It was just the thought of this stranger, this creature, standing in the same rooms and halls that his parents had frequented, made him uneasy. Like he was soiling their names just by having it there. And the way it moved, so fluid, like it glided rather than walked. CL needed to show it who was boss. He needed something to take his mind away from the images of his parents burning and screaming. Sebastian. The demon turned to look at him slowly. Is the mansion repaired to exactly the way it was before the fire? Sebastian nodded. Yes. Then there are some clothes in the servants' quarters that should fit you. Take what you will. Sebastian placed his palm against his chest and closed his eyes. How kind. Thank you, sir. Ch. CL watched as Sebastian walked towards the servants' quarters and wondered why the demon was so polite. Was it because of the covenant? Did he have to be polite as part of the contract? Or was he simply naturally like that? CL smiled to himself. Of course he wasn't naturally like that. He was a demon after all. He was probably waiting for the opportune moment to suck out his soul and devour him. The thought made CL shiver again, and he made his way to his bedroom to change his clothes. Sebastian pushed open the white door that led to the servants' quarters. A short corridor was lined on either side by white doors which looked less expensive than the rest of the mansion, like less care had been taken on this part of the building. He turned the doorknob of the door nearest to him and stepped inside the small white room. There wasn't exactly anything particularly special about the room. A small bed lined one wall, and a narrow wardrobe occupied the wall opposite. Sebastian opened the tiny wardrobe and quickly inspected its contents. 3 pairs of black trousers, 2 white shirts, a tailcoat and a waistcoat. Butler's clothes. The demon smirked at the irony and began to change into the stranger's uniform. He found a necktie in the bottom of the wardrobe and completed his ensemble. Might as well look the part, he thought to himself. After hanging up his long coat, he went to find his new master in the hopes that maybe he'd accidentally fallen from a balcony, or perhaps impaled himself somewhere. Sebastian was hungry. It had been a long while since he'd kept to a diet of one soul, and his throat was starting to burn at just the thought of devouring such a sweet, young soul like the one that resided in his new master. He had made a contract, however, and he would keep true to it no matter what. Inside his bedroom, CL was struggling with the buttons on the clean nightshirt he'd picked out. His mother was usually the one who dressed him. Even though it should have been the butler, she preferred to do it. She would often come into CL's room and tuck him in at night, or brush his hair when it had gotten shaggy from an uneasy night's sleep. The memories of his mother blurred the young boy's vision, and a single tear fell down his bruised face. He swiped at it aggressively. He wouldn't let himself cry. He would not be weak. He was the head of the Phantom Hive household now, and he would carry that burden as his father had, with pride. A light knock at the door made CL jump slightly, and when Sebastian walked in, dressed as a butler, the young boy almost cried out. He looked at the demon up and down. You look ridiculous. Sebastian forced a smile and ignored CL's comment. Instead, he walked over to the young master and finished fastening the buttons on his nightshirt. His fingers worked quickly, and it was fastened in a matter of seconds. CL stood in front of the full-length mirror in his bedroom as Sebastian loomed over him. Gently, CL touched the area around his right eye. His iris was now a pale cerise, and he could faintly see the outline of the demon's mark. Sebastian reached around Ciel's head and placed his hand over his eye, his fingers covering his other eye too. The mark on Sebastian's hand matched the one on Ciel's eye perfectly, and the young boy stared at its reflection through the demon's fingers. His hand was cold like marble, and Ciel pulled it away from his face harshly. "It would be more convenient if you covered that up," Sebastian spoke as he placed his hand back at his side. Ciel turned to face him, craning his neck to make eye contact. "I can grow my hair a little." "No." Ciel shrank back a little as Sebastian's harsh response resonated in his head. Sebastian composed himself and continued. "If someone were to ask about it, it would be quite troublesome. And it's also easier for me if it's covered." "Easier?" Ciel raised his eyebrows. He wasn't expecting anything to be hard for the creature. His butler nodded. "Yes, I am more prone to act on impulse if the seal is on show. It would be better to only reveal it when you are in need of me." "Very well." Ciel brushed his dark hair over his eye. "First thing tomorrow we will purchase an eye patch." He pointed to Sebastian's hand, the one that had held the mark of the covenant. "You should also cover that up." Sebastian placed his other hand over the mark. "Of course." "And the other hand, your nails are ghastly." Ciel opened a drawer next to his bed and pulled out a pair of white gloves. They had been his father's, and Ciel had liked to play with them when he was younger, but he looked about the right size for Sebastian, and so he handed them over cautiously. "Wear these." The demon took the gloves and pulled them on. They fit perfectly. "Thank you, sir." Sebastian gestured to the large bed and Ciel gingerly climbed into it. He lay there momentarily as the demon pulled the sheets tight around him. It was funny, really, the contrast between Sebastian and Ciel's mother, and had it not been for the fact that she was now dead, Ciel might have laughed at the concept of it. He stared at Sebastian in the dim light. "From now on you will be my dog. You will act as my butler and do as I say at all times." "Understood." "You will help me achieve my goal and then you can have your reward." Ciel swallowed loudly as the meaning of his words sank in. Sebastian's reward would be his very own soul. "I will be your faithful dog, my lord." Sebastian bowed low and then left the room, leaving Ciel in the darkness.